What's going on? All the full centers all around the world. We are back with the second episode of the official FSS podcast. I'm here with a new hat brought to you by Darren, our game developer, and my great friend Ian. And today we have a lot of topics to talk about. First of all, an E3 update. Second of all, what's the second thing? Oh, the Gather. We're going to be hitting on a couple new updates, and yeah, that's about it. And then some more just general gaming news. So yeah, if you're in the chat, say hello. Poggers from Matador, thanks for coming out, dude. It's always nice to see you. But yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it, I think. So Darren, if you want to kick off with the Gather talk, because we always like to start our episode with a little bit about us. So.
All right, so a little bit of updates on the Gather. We're working on a website to bring a development blog. That should hopefully be going live within the next week or two here.
FullSendStudios.com, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
We're working on a blog, so you'll be able to sign up on the site, comment
so
on our blog posts on there if you want to communicate with us through that. We'll be posting mostly development blogs, kind of talking about what we're working on. I would expect these to be probably not daily, but every other day about. We might miss a beat here or there, but we'll kind of just be going over what we worked on that day. And what was that?
Train.
Oh yeah, there's a train outside. We'll kind of just be going over what we were working on then. And
your mom just roasted you, dude.
Wow. Well,
I think you meant to say dwarf.
Yeah, I'm not a midget, I'm a dwarf. There's different. I carry a battle axe.
A lot of people like fun size, okay? Just, stop with the disrespect.
So anyways, website going live in the next week or two. We'll be posting that on our social media when it does go live, so you can follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our Reddit. Wherever you'd prefer to follow us, we'll be posting it there.
Platform of choice. That's the lingo, Darren. Get it straight. Platform of choice. You know what I mean?
So in addition to the website, and we'll be updating that website regularly once it goes live. We'll be adding a forum and things of that nature later on. But our first goal is the blog, so we can start putting out some more news about what we're working on in a easier to do platform.
Sure, and I think the main goal overall of the website is to really just have that as a general meeting place for people that are interested in the game and the studio in general, right? So yeah. So that's going to be the main goal, I think, is to develop the website enough where, you can get general information, communicate with other players when the game does come out, rather than other social medias where, the information might not be as dense, I guess. Muhammad, calm down. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I think generally speaking, we want the website to be the main source of communication between the people playing our game and us.
Yeah.
At some point. So.
Yeah. So our next topic then for the Gather is our what would we call this? Our pricing model. How we're gonna sell the game.
Yeah.
So we've went through a lot of different things. I think we've talked about some of the ideas we've had in the past. We will be moving away from the subscription model that we talked about before. I think we talked about that like 2 episodes ago, or subscription idea.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyways, we'll be moving away from that. We'll be doing a kind of a new deal. I don't know. I can't think of any games that have really done this. It kind of follows the same DLC pattern as other games, but it's a little bit different. So we'll be selling the game for an initial entry fee. Whether that's we plan to do it similar to like how Minecraft was. How Minecraft was like $10 in alpha and then $15 in beta and then $20 once it fully released. We'll be doing something similar to that, so you'll be able to buy it on the Kickstarter. Will probably be the cheapest place to pick it up. So the earlier you get in, the cheaper it'll be.
Yeah.
And then once we move into like alpha on Steam, It'll be, let's say these aren't set price points, but just for example, let's say it's $10 on the Kickstarter,
Mm.
$20 in alpha, $30 in beta, and $40 on full release. So
Right.
the sooner you get in, the cheaper it'll be. And we'll also be doing on our Kickstarter a tier where you get all the future expansions and DLC for, the initial cost that you buy the game
Right.
for free. So what we'll be doing is then we'll be doing updates pretty frequently, new game modes, characters, weapons, things like that. Smaller little updates here and there. And then we'll be doing larger expansions. So the initial game will come with the campaign, and we'll be releasing the campaign in like chapters or episodes. So the initial game will come with the first chapter of the campaign, and then as we release new chapters, those will be in expansion packs, which come with the new chapter of the campaign, and then maps to go with it, characters, enemies, weapons,
Right.
maybe some game modes, everything like that. So that's kind of where we're at with pricing. I think we're pretty locked in there. So
Yeah. I think realistically, I think our original model was kind of limiting because, the goal of this game is to continue to produce, I think, quality content for, hopefully years to come. And I think with our original model, although it was extremely favored in the way of the player, I think this model honestly will be able to provide more content, quality content for years to come after the original release. So, you know, although people might not necessarily agree with like the pricing or something like that in comparison to our original model, if you overall enjoy the game, it will produce more quality content, afterwards, which I think is a good thing to a degree. But our overall plans are expensive. I mean, that's just the reality behind it. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff isn't cheap, and so this will be able, this will enable us to boost our systems and hire more staff and et cetera. Be able to just put more money into producing quality content that forms up to both of our visions, the players and us as well. So I think overall, it's probably more beneficial to the the overall story of the campaign and the game in general. But some people might disagree. But if you're here now, that's great news because you'll be able to get pretty much everything significantly cheaper on the Kickstarter. So
yeah.
Oh, and also bouncing off of the where we're gonna be like uploading the game and stuff like that. We had kind of talked about this a little bit before. So I just wanted to hit on this really quick. The game will be available on Steam. That's not going to change. I think with the recent changes that they've been making and just how gaming is going in general, we've kind of decided that just posting on one database, I guess, whatever you want to call it, marketplace is not necessarily the best option. In fact, it's probably pretty limiting because there are so many games being uploaded, and if Steam does decide to enact this, model that they've discussed, where they're just gonna let pretty much anyone upload, it's only gonna get worse. So I think, like I said, the game will be available on Steam, but I think we're looking into other avenues as well, just to just for overall promotion of the game and to put it in other communities that it might not necessarily have reached before. So with just uploading to Steam, and I think it's also important to hit at that we're going to be using our own launcher too, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
So
if you want to talk about that.
So we'll be developing our own launcher for the game, similar to like the Blizzard launcher or the Epic Games launcher. Basically, if you do get the game on Steam or if it's on the Humble Store, wherever you happen to buy it at, what you're gonna get is our launcher, and you'll get like an activation code of some sort. I'm gonna guess that's how we're gonna work it out. That's my plan as of now. You'll get our launcher and you'll make an account, and then you'll use that activation code you get from wherever you bought it from to activate the game on the launcher. Or if you discover it through our website and download the launcher, you'll be able to buy it directly through us. Yeah. So I do plan to have this integrate. I think that Steam is one of the only places that this really has an effect as far as marketplaces go. This isn't a factor with the Humble Store or I think Itch or anything like that. We probably will integrate with Steam friends lists and things of that nature because I feel like people do enjoy those features.
Oh yeah, most especially with a multiplayer game.
Yeah, so I think that, if we're going to use our own launcher and we're going to have accounts throughout launcher and you have to add all your friends on that, at the least, you'll be able to kind of integrate import your Steam friends list into that.
Oh no.
Oh, here's the cat.
It's a
Here's
young
Lana.
Meow meow.
She's up here on the
and
table.
another train. Hey Carl, what's going on, dude? Thanks for coming out.
That's where we're at with the Gather. As far as the game goes, we're working on animation systems mostly right now, trying to make it feel pretty smooth. That's our goal with the gameplay is to just make it feel really smooth, have it flow well. So that's what we're working on right now.
Definitely. So I think we're, like we were kind of talking about last week, I think we're in a really good place. Last week we had kind of talked about how we're in a good place with the podcast. And I think now we have the structure around the game as well that I think we're in a really good place for, future development as well. So, yeah. I think we're pretty happy with where we are, and it, I can only speak for myself, but excited for, what's to come here pretty soon. So, can I get it gameplay next week?
I will work on that. We'll see. Probably we'll have a clip next week.
Yeah, we will. So Carl, I don't know if you saw, our goal is to hopefully be putting out weekly, maybe more frequently than that, updates on what we're working on with the game. That'll be on Twitter, depending on the size, YouTube, if it's something more.
And our website on the blog.
And our website once that's live as well. If you missed that, the website will be fullsendstudios.com. That'll be linked everywhere once it's live, so you will be updated on that probably within the next couple of weeks, but
next week or two.
Okay, so after that, do we just want to jump into the rest, the gaming talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you guys want to talk about the game that you guys have been playing.
The game that we
but
covered.
I'll let you introduce our new segment here, the game of the week.
Yeah. So we're doing a new segment where it's exactly like you said. It's called the game of the week. Basically, what it is, it's just going to be a short segment each week where we talk about a game that one of us or all of us have played or saw this week that we think each of you would find interesting, possibly. But it's just going to be maybe a segment of a game that's, not as well known or something like that. Or it could just be, something like, Fortnite. It's not going to be Fortnite, but it could be, something popular as well. But I think this will be a good way to kind of let you guys know what we're playing, where we're taking maybe a little bit of inspiration from as well. But yeah, we're just going to try to start rolling this out this week with, what is it called? Talos?
The Talos Principle.
Talos Principle.
Yeah.
So this game came out a number of years ago.
2014.
Yeah. So about 4 years ago. Exactly 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So this game is kind of a mysterious game. It's not very upfront about what the game is.
It's not upfront about anything.
And that is part of the point of the game. It ties into the story, and I'm not saying that it's not upfront about things in a bad way.
No.
Cody's getting rid of the cats, so if you hear that, that's what that is. But anyways, it's a very fun game. It's a puzzle game, very reminiscent of Portal. I think a little more complex puzzles.
Way more complex.
In my opinion, it's a better game. Don't get me wrong, I love Portal, but I do think that this is slightly better.
We're gonna get attacked for saying it's better than
So
Portal.
part of the reason that this is the game of the week is it's on sale on Steam right now for $8, and it's normally $40. So that is a great deal. I highly recommend you pick it up if you have the money. I probably, if I would have paid the full $40 for it, I would not have been disappointed.
Yeah. I would have been happy with it.
I've played it. I'm probably about 13 hours into that game so far.
Probably at least
and
8 or 9.
It's very good, so I would recommend it. I don't want to go too much into detail about what it's about because that's kind of part of the point of the game is discovering things and figuring it out. But very good game, highly recommend. You got anything to say about it, Ian?
Nothing more than we just did. It's just extremely
dude.
complex puzzles. Portal like scratches the surface of that genre, and then this game just amps it up. There's like multiple tiers too. Like you start thinking like there's no way that they can get more complex than this with using what they have, and then they add something new, and then you just completely it just breaks you mentally. It's very good though.
The Gather VR Omega Wall.
Hey, I don't want to rule it out. It's a possibility.
You were getting paid for saying that, Cap.
Dude,
I'm not. It's just
if we were getting paid, there'd be a hashtag ad in the title.
You can pay us to say that though, if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, like we're more than willing to taking advertisements to our 8 average viewer stream. So if anyone is out there, and is like the CEO of, anything really, I'm a sellout. You can sponsor my stream, average viewer of a half person. You can sponsor me there too at Cody Marshmallow, sellout season. Anyway,
so Darren, the other day when we were playing it, we started noticing similarities between like level designs of Serious Sam.
Oh yeah,
and it's exactly the same engine.
So
they make the engine for it.
Yeah, but this is the game is made by the same studio, right?
Yeah, and it's in the same engine.
There are some direct shout outs to Serious Sam in the game, as well as you notice some of the maps are like rearranged versions of Serious Sam maps, which is interesting. I like that and it's very subtle. You wouldn't know it if you aren't a pretty decent fan of the Serious Sam series, but
yeah, it's made by the same studio and the same engine.
That's pretty neat. I just saw that is there a VR version of that game?
Serious Sam?
Of Talos Principle or whatever.
I know there's a Serious Sam.
I thought I just saw that on the website you were on. Might be wrong.
Let me find out.
That I feel like that could be interesting.
There is a VR version.
Is there?
Yep.
Is it on? I would assume it's on PC.
Yeah, I think it's only on PC it's for the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive.
That would be.
I don't know if that's on Steam or what.
Interesting.
The game makes me seasick anyways.
I can say from playing the just normal one, a VR version would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think I know this isn't really a topic we had, but I think with where VR sits right now, like you have to have the right type of game for it to really work in your game.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim did it, and people were just like, this is just not the same experience. And I think you need to, Carl, we are, actually probably right after this. I think it's interesting though, like, I think there is a lot of room for it to grow, but I think just where it sits right now, the technology is just not there for it to really take advantage of what it is. I don't know, maybe you guys disagree, but I think it's just too new, where it sits right now, and people aren't taking advantage of exactly what it is. So will the Gather be available on Alexa?
No, that's probably 4 releases after the Ultimate Edition.
Yeah,
that's a Skyrim exclusive.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that video?
Yeah.
I saw that today, and I was just like, it was funny. I'll
that's
give
a real
them that.
thing.
It was funny. Well,
it's not a joke.
Know,
you can play Skyrim on Alexa.
But it's funny. It's funnier than it is at all enjoyable.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying the video itself was pretty funny. I liked it. I laughed a little bit, dude. It was pretty good, but and the actual game is a disgrace. That's all I have to say. Okay, so do we just want to jump into E3?
Yeah.
We might as well. It'd be a good segue. So I think the first question we have here is, who won E3 in your guys' opinions? This can be like a big studio, like Sony, whatever, Microsoft, or it can be a game. Just in your opinion, who walked away with the most benefit? Do you think? I guess.
I think I would have to say Microsoft. I didn't watch all of E3. I barely watched any of Sony, but I didn't hear like anything about Sony.
Yeah.
It seemed like, so whether or not you want to say the games look like they'll be good or not, Microsoft came with a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 games.
Yeah.
So whether or not those are good, we'll see.
Yeah, and we're gonna.
Nintendo forgot to bring games, so.
Yeah.
But they brought games that matter, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Smash.
Look at all those new Final Smashes.
I think. Well, here's my perspective on it. Right, everyone's complaining about how PS4 is dominating exclusives, and I think Xbox answered back perfectly with like, listen, here's what we're doing. We've acquired all these game studios, and we're gonna make sure that we're not, slowing down even more.
Well, here's the thing too between Microsoft and Microsoft versus Sony versus Nintendo. That whole console wars thing, right?
Yeah,
well, I think that Sony's given themselves a really bad image lately. This isn't necessarily related to E3, but with the whole cross-platform stuff, people are not happy with Sony.
I think it's more of like Microsoft and Nintendo versus Sony.
So the whole thing, I don't know if anyone saw this. If you played Fortnite on PS4, you can't log into your account on the Switch, and it appears to be Sony's problem. Nintendo said it's Sony's problem. Epic didn't comment on it, and Sony is dodging the question as hard as they can. And then I thought it was funny. I think it was Xbox UK tweeted at Nintendo UK and said, "Hey, want to play some Fortnite later?"
In a sea of horrible E3 jokes, Xbox UK pulled out with a big W with that one.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah,
but,
so I just feel like Sony is kind of giving themselves a bad image, and I get that they're trying to protect their platform by not enabling crossplay and being the holdout for it. They're trying to keep people specifically on their platform, which I get, but at the same time, that's where the market's moving. Fortnite being the biggest game in the world and pushing cross-platform as hard as it is.
Yeah.
That's an indicator that's where the market's going, and that's what people want. So.
What is he doing? What is this?
What?
Oh my gosh, dude.
Our Discord is not doing well.
Why?
Oh.
Well,
what happened?
That's unfortunate. Okay, well,
I banned him.
I'm not gonna talk about that on stream, but
who knows about our Discord enough?
It's in our Twitch. It's on our Twitch page.
I mean, yeah, but Jesus, like, are people just? I'm dying. Is that a little sorry? I had to just laugh. Well, it's not just a laugh because you got banned.
Yeah.
Like, is it kind of funny? Yeah, but
all right. So on to our next topic. Some individual games that were brought to E3 that we think are interesting.
Yeah. Well, did we all agree that Microsoft won? Is that generally speaking?
I think so.
What do you think, Ian? You didn't really...
Microsoft?
Yeah. Do you think Microsoft won?
Yeah. I think Nintendo had some pretty good releases as far as making game, like their traditional like Smash and Mario Party. They came back with some pretty cool stuff, but
yeah, I agree. They did well. They did well for, what they normally do. I just didn't think they really tried to go outside the box that much. Yeah, we do deserve a follow. Hit that little heart button right above the video. Thanks. Sell out Sunday. Let's get it. I just think Xbox knew, or I should say Microsoft knew what their problems were going in, and they said, listen, here's our answer. So, good job. Yeah, Chad, we're working on it. It's looking a little rough over there. But anyway, so do we just want to jump into games then?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start off with, because people were getting a little pissy in chat about us not talking about Smash. So let's just jump into that. What do you guys think? Impressions, etc. What do you guys think?
I mean, I got way more from the pros playing the actual game at E3 more than like what their actual release
Yeah, it
thing
seemed like
was.
what they really showed was just like finals matches, and they all have new faces.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but when they actually had people out playing it, it looked really good because it seems like, or what they've talked about is they made it faster than Smash 4, which is good for me. And they changed like a lot of good mechanics that I think will be that will feel good when you're playing it. I don't have a Switch, but I will be buying one for this game, and I think that's good.
House Switch, boys? House Switch? Probably gonna have to make it happen. Yeah, what in the hell is this?
Is this still going?
Did you not ban them?
I banned one of them.
You should ban both of them.
Oh, come
Didn't
on.
realize
I just
there was
deleted all
two.
of them. Okay, well.
If you don't stop, you're probably gonna get banned in Twitch chat
I'm
too.
gonna ban him in Twitch chat, actually.
Okay.
Because that's just stupid.
Continue with the games.
Hashtag, are we gonna start the roast of 2018? No. Okay, we're not. Well, did you have anything to add, Darren, on Smash?
I didn't really see a whole lot about it, but I think from what I did see, it doesn't seem that much different than Smash 4. So Smash 4 was great. So hopefully this is as great.
Yeah. I think
I don't have too much of an opinion about it. I guess we'll see more as more comes out. But
right, did they say that they're adding in like a lot of the old characters or something like
every
that?
character
Every
that's ever
character
been
that's ever
in
been in
Smash.
Smash, plus Riley.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so is that the only new person there?
Riley and the people from Splatoon, the squid people from Splatoon.
Right. Okay, well that's not too bad then. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'll play it for sure, but it looks very similar to Matador. Careful. I'm gonna allow it though. But yeah, I mean, it looks similar to the old games, and but whatever. I'll still play it. I'll still probably buy it. So
Yeah, for sure.
I guess it's good enough. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen anything about this game?
I watched the whole reveal thing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of anything.
I mean, I think all they released was cinematic, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I thought.
Which is fine for that kind of game, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, obviously, like I said, it's cinematic, so that's you have to take that with a grain of salt anytime it's just a cinematic trailer. But I like just the overall appeal of the game and how they portrayed it. If you don't know, Darren, it's the same people that made the Witcher series.
Yeah. So I have faith in it to be.
So,
which, by the way, if anyone's out there hasn't played The Witcher, I haven't either. Heard it's really good. It's on sale for pretty cheap on Steam. I saw the other day. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The Game of the Year edition was like $20, I think.
Really?
So if you're looking for that, it was on sale. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I might have to do that. Who do you expect to win tomorrow?
Definitely England is going to win that game tomorrow. I'm the only one here that cares about the World Cup. So.
Yeah, hard to argue with, dude. Hard to argue with. I mean, the U.S. isn't in it, so I just whatever. It's soccer. It's football. Sorry.
But yeah, England will win.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Let's go, champ. Let's go, England.
Go England.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add on that game, but it's definitely something that I'm gonna keep like in the back of my head because it looks really cool. But I think someone had said that it might be a while until release. That might have been a different game. I can't remember. Let's see. Release date. Let's check. Oh no. Oh yeah, a year from now, June 2019. So that's kind of rough, but definitely something that I would put in the back of my mind for now because it looks pretty interesting. Kingdom Hearts 3. This is something you guys can probably talk about a bit more because I've never played any of them, but
I've only played Kingdom Hearts a little bit. It was a fun game the times that I did play it. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not like dying for the next Kingdom Hearts, but I would play it if it's on a system that I have. If I can, I will play it.
yeah.
It looks like it could be good. Also looks like it could be bad. Not really sure. We'll see where it goes.
That's hard to argue with.
But Frozen though.
Yeah, Ice Snack.
Ice snack.
So it's going to be on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it says. Also, it is made in Unreal Engine 4. Pog.
Yep.
I don't know. I generally don't get that much into games like that. But it looks interesting, to say the least. I also think it was probably one of the only good things that Square Enix brought to E3. I really thought their presentation was very lacking. I don't know if you guys agree. I think we all watched that one together, right? Wasn't that on the first day?
I don't believe I did. I think that was in Microsoft's one when I watched it.
Oh yeah. I think you're right. A lot of people on the internet were very, very upset with the lack of content that Square Enix brought. I agree.
I believe it's Square Enix.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how it's pronounced.
Pretty sure.
Whatever,
I just read the word, dude. It's a weird word. I do my best. Okay. Sorry, I'm illiterate.
All right. Well,
Please
I'll
don't
get you
roast me.
I'll get you a phonics book.
Yeah, someone donate in chat so I can go to school to learn how to read. Thanks.
College graduate.
Do my best out here. I promise. Okay, college degree. Yeah. Here we are. What is it? 16 years later, still can't read. I mean, that's just how it goes. Honestly.
What do we got next?
That's
Halo
just 'cause we
Infinite.
went to our high school.
Yes, Halo. Darren, I mean, you could
So-
probably go off on this,
Yeah.
but
So I saw the first trailer for Halo Infinite, right? Didn't give me a whole lot to go off of, but I'll say what I think they should do with Halo and what I hope they do.
whoa, he
But,
said, "Dude, can I get a doo-doo in chat?" Whoa.
But so
We're mature.
there was that whole El Dorito thing, right?
Yeah.
We all remember that.
Yeah.
I think that's where they need to go with it.
Oh my god. There's more, dude, every time I come back.
All right, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's still going.
You okay?
It's still going.
You okay over there?
Still going.
I think I'm dying. All right, I'm back. I'm
All
sorry.
right. So, anyways, they had the whole El Dorito thing,
Dorito.
which was good. Calm down.
Cody.
Going on.
But that was good, and I think that's the direction they need to take it. I think they've been ignoring the PC market for a long time, and I don't know why, because every other game Microsoft's made, they've pushed on PC.
No.
Whether it was very successful or not, Gears of War 4 and Ultimate Edition were on PC. You guys gotta calm down over there.
It's so hot in here.
I'm dying.
I'm dying.
It's 92
Okay,
degrees outside.
Anyways,
AC is being
they need to
blocked
not
up.
ignore the PC market,
Yes.
and they need to go back to their roots with Halo 3. They need to get rid of Sprint. That's the first.
Bring
right
back
off
no
the table.
emotion,
Get
Master
rid of,
Chief.
Get rid of Sprint. Yeah.
Wow.
Get rid of all these abilities. That's
is that
not.
a thing?
Yeah. There's like.
Oh, no.
Well, there's like. So they in Halo 3 they had like the equipment. You had like a bubble shield.
Yeah.
And like a flare and stuff that you could pick up off the map. But now they've added in like these abilities and all this stuff, and it's gone so far away from what Halo originally was and what people liked it for,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
brought in all this new stuff that it's just it just doesn't, it's not Halo to me, and I think that's what
fair.
they need to go back to, and the biggest thing has to be the not ignoring PC. Because there is a market there, and I don't know why they haven't capitalized on it yet. They can see with the amount of people that played El Dorito and the amount of people behind I forget what the other one's called. I can't remember the name of it, but there's another one that's basically a remake of Halo 3 for PC, and that has a huge following.
Yeah.
It's obvious that there's a market there and that they could make a game and people will buy it. So I don't know why they haven't.
Right.
Hopefully this is it.
Right. Hopefully. I guess we'll find out. I guess I read, Darren, that
Ian's over by the air conditioner because he's too hot.
Ian is absolutely broken. Are you okay, Ian? Are you dead? Did you make it?
It's so hot in that corner.
Yeah. I guess the trailer that they showed at E3 though actually wasn't meant to as like an advertisement for the game. I guess their main purpose for showing it was their new engine, and really didn't have a whole lot to do with like actually being like, here's our game. Because I don't know if you saw, they made like a new engine, and apparently it's supposed to be like the most beautiful thing since, sliced bread or whatever, but I guess we'll see.
Not going to be an Unreal Engine probably, so.
Yeah, probably not. No, I forget what the engine's called, like Slipstream, maybe something.
It's going to be open source?
Slip Space Engine? Is that a thing? Let's see. Slip Space Engine. Almost certainly not. It's developed by 343.
343's trash.
Wow.
Good luck. Let me see.
We can hope. Epic made the #1 AAA game engine for years and then released it open source, so
we can dream. Don't let
your memes be
there
dreams.
You go, dude. You picked it up for me. Thanks, dude. I'm glad you were picking up what I was throwing down. We'll just go into another one you could probably talk for hours about, Darren. What do you think?
Gears 5.
Just pick it right back up where you left off.
Well, so Gears 5, once again, don't ignore PC. Huge mistake if you do that.
Yeah.
They didn't ignore PC on Gears 4. They had a PC release, but they still pushed it too hard on Xbox and not enough on PC.
I didn't even know it was released on PC.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, how I think they're still pushing it this way. It's like the universal Windows platform or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's kind of where they're pushing it. Gears 4 was the first game that they like adopted as their pick up and play anywhere. So play it on your Xbox, stop playing it there, and pick up where you left on your PC.
Right.
And the problem that you have with that is like competitive play, multiplayer and stuff. Obviously the campaigns, whatever, you play that wherever, and like how perfectly you aim and stuff really doesn't have much of a bearing on the campaign.
Right.
However, in the competitive play and stuff, me playing on a computer, you can't keep the game fair if I'm playing on a computer and people are playing on a console.
Right.
It's never going to be fair,
no.
Right? And so you can't cross-play those in a competitive setting.
Right.
Which, is a big part of Gears. And so you can't ignore PC, right? Because they didn't advertise it well for PC. They didn't put it out on PC very well. You had to go through the Windows Store, which I'm going to guess is how you're going to have to get Gears 5. And that might not be a horrible thing if they start to release more games on PC and it's worth it for me to care about the Microsoft Store and even realize that it's on my computer.
Yeah. Very true.
But it just wasn't a good release, and there wasn't people playing on PC. It died very quickly on PC, and I still don't think it's super active on Xbox either.
That's a shame.
I think it's just whether they're pushing the game in a direction that's too different from what it used to be, and people don't want to play it anymore. I don't know, but I guess we'll see what they do with Gears 5.
Gears is one of those games that would be so much better on PC because of how quickly you have to move.
Yeah, and it is better on PC. I've played 4 on PC, and I played 1 on PC because 1 was on PC. Yeah.
That's
1 was on PC, and then 2 and 3 in Judgment weren't, and Ultimate Edition wasn't.
What is as a general rule, what is the reasoning that publishers don't want to release their games on PC?
Because then people will buy consoles.
Yeah.
So a publisher makes a game. Obviously, Microsoft owns Gears, so that's why.
Yeah, that's
but when a publisher isn't owned by Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo, right? They put it on only consoles because they get money from the people who make the consoles to do it. You sign a contract with Microsoft to release it only on Xbox.
Right.
you sign it with Sony to release it only on PlayStation. You know, that's just what it is,
like,
and that's what it's been for years.
2, 3, and Judgment were like in the height of the PlayStation versus Xbox feud.
And you know, that's why I kind of have a problem with like publishers owning the
Studios
IPs. You know, either owning the IP or owning the studio. I think that the developer should stay with the game. You know, I feel like Epic used to make Gears, and since Epic left, it's not the same game.
Yeah.
You have the same thing with Bungie and
Halo.
343 taking over Halo.
Right.
Since they took over, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
You know, they can say that they're staying true to but they're not. It's different developers, and I'm not saying that I necessarily expect them to, because it's a completely new team that doesn't have the same vision and the same ideas as the original team.
Well, you see that with Halo. It's completely different storylines. I mean, we've watched that video of them like describing all the differences, and it's like a 20-minute video about how, and they even said it in an interview, how like Bungie's Master Chief was
hey, like, there's Cliffy B in chat.
Cliffy B in chat,
my boy.
Since Master Chief was like this shell that people played in, there was no emotion to him. He was just like a robot that just walked around and shot things, you know, saving the planet. And then 343 comes in and changes it.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there. So I think that Master Chief had just enough emotion, and you kind of saw it between him and Cortana, right?
Well, yeah.
Because it gave you just enough to scratch the surface and be like, I want to find out more about that. But it didn't put it in the game, which was the good thing, right? I don't want the game where I'm coming to for the gameplay and to shoot things, essentially. I don't want that to be bogged down with story. Now, I'm not saying that story doesn't have a place in games, but I'm saying that it doesn't have a place in Halo. It has a very small place in Halo. You should give me just enough to get me interested, and then if I want to know more about the story, I'm going to go read the books. Or, you know, read Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, like 343 just changed him into like I don't even know, like a sitcom. Like all the cutscenes were about how people were telling him to do this, and then he said no because Cortana and saving whatever. Fighting against Spartans meme.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think there's like a middle ground though. Like some games benefit from having just really drawn out stories.
You know, I wanna hit on something else with Halo while we're on that. While we're on the subject of Halo, going back to Halo Infinite a little bit. In Halo 5, I don't know if either of you played Halo 5 at all. No. There's so much going on the screen. When you're playing, there's so many particle effects, and you can't tell what's an enemy, what's a weapon, what's a bullet, what's a scenery object. It's just, there's too much going on, right? Your brain cannot process everything's going on.
Maybe yours can't.
Well, I'm just saying, you should play it sometime and see what I'm talking about. It's just, so like, they added the Forerunners, right? If you go back and look at Halo 1, 2, or 3, obviously the graphics got a little more detailed and advanced as they went on, but even by Halo 3, they were still, you know, the graphics were good, but they were simplistic, right? They didn't have these over-the-top flashy particles and all this stuff that looks future-like, right?
Yeah.
You know, it gave you the ability to tell, you know, okay, this is an alien and this is a gun.
Yeah.
And you don't have that ability in Halo 5. You know, you just see flashy things sitting around and you don't even know what's an enemy because you got the Forerunners, and that's like the stupidest thing that's ever happened in a game. But and then you want to talk about, so you had in 1, 2, and 3 you had the human guns and the Covenant guns, right? And they were vastly different. You know, you had the Needler, you had the gravity hammer, the carbine, you know. So there wasn't like and even the ones that were similar. So you had like the battle rifle, which was the 3-shot burst rifle for the humans, and then you had the carbine, which was a single shot. They're at least different. When you play Halo 5, and I think this is true in Halo 4 as well, when you pick up the enemy guns, they're basically a reskin version of the human guns. They have the exact same function.
That's
silly. Like the Covenant had the fuel rod cannon, which was basically their rocket launcher, and the way that it functioned was so different because the human rocket launcher shot in a straight line, right? And it was going to go in a straight line unless you locked onto something. Whereas the fuel rod cannon was kind of like an arc, and it dropped. So, you know, it's just mechanical differences in the guns, and you don't have that in the new ones. They're just the exact same thing, but this one shoots a laser and this one shoots a bullet.
Yeah.
But they essentially do the same thing.
That just
And
makes
there's,
no sense.
I don't know. They just don't feel great. I don't like Halo now. I don't like where they went with it. I haven't liked Halo since Reach came out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Halo
that's
Wars
what they
was
need
my
to fix.
game.
So 343, if you're listening, that's how you fix your game.
Yeah. Hard to argue with.
Don't release until it's fixed.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeez. I mean, well, and I also think, like, your complaints with, I think, 5, like, a lot of that would have been solved if it was on PC. You could just turn that stuff off, too. Like, going back to our earlier conversation. Like, all of
and I don't know that you could, because it's part of the design, too. The Forerunners don't look like sentient beings, right? They just look like these. So they look like I don't know how to explain
orange
it.
humanoids.
Yeah, so I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you look at a crate, some like futuristic looking box, and that could just as easily be a Forerunner as the thing that's got a giant rocket launcher.
Yeah.
And it just you can't differentiate what's what in the game.
That's just
right?
horrible, like, designing.
So
That's trash.
you know, when you
Halo
played the
worst.
original ones, you knew what you were looking at all
Right.
the time, right?
Yeah,
And that's the
sure.
difference.
I mean, I think the key really with that is, like, you can have simplicity with, like, advanced, like, modeling. Like, you don't
Yeah.
just have to have, like, it can be a new game without having all this, like,
Yeah.
God, I'm just screwing up all over the place today. Without having all of this, like, just unnecessary sensory information that's just
Mhm.
beaming down on
Yeah.
you the whole time. Like, you can meet in the middle.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll still be a very polished game. I think that's the key. I think that's part of the problem with games like Destiny, is it's just like
Yeah.
they try too much to, like, have this just, like, fast paced and, like, super, like, we're gonna continue to flash stuff in your face, but it takes away from, like, you know, individual gunfights or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I didn't play Halo 5
I played it
Or-
very briefly.
but I imagine it's probably something similar to that, where it's just, like, unnecessary information that distracts from what you should
Yeah.
be doing.
And to take it back to a previous segment, the Talos Principle is one of the games that does that extremely well, where there's like these massive, beautiful areas, but you can take it all in at one time. There's no like over sensory, you know, all this random junk that's there for no reason. Everything has a purpose and everything's there for a reason.
Right. Mason,
That's not true, Mason.
if you keep spamming with stupid opinion, you're gonna get banned. Watch your mouth.
Wait, are you trying to say that Kendrick Lamar is better than Eminem?
I'm saying Kendrick Lamar now is better than Eminem now.
Okay, I'll
100%
I'll
in
agree with
present
that.
tense. I would say for the last
I would
5
say
years.
at least
not
5
overall,
years.
but
I mean, whatever. I don't know. I think Eminem's best album is probably better than Kendrick's best album, but I think overall Kendrick produces a lot more quality content than Eminem ever did. But, you know, whatever. We don't have to jump into this. Eminem in his prime is greater than Kendrick ever. That's not true.
yes, it is.
No.
Yeah.
It's so false, it's absurd. Darren, you're just white. You literally only listen to Eminem and baby metal. Your opinion on music is irrelevant to me.
What do you mean? He listens to like,
Mason,
he
I don't
listened to
even-
Avenged Sevenfold too. Bro.
Oh yeah. Mason literally just says that to tilt me.
Yeah.
Chad, you're just wrong. That's just what it comes down to.
Chad, you're just wrong.
Me and Ian are right. Like, don't get me wrong, Eminem was phenomenal. You know, for like 3 albums.
That's my hat.
Oh, here we go. Mason's about to get permabanned.
Mason, if you want to keep talking, I'll ban you right now. Let me clarify that really quick. I'm quick with the ban hammer. I've been thinking, I saw on, I don't know if it was on Amazon or what, but someone like made like a plastic hammer that said ban. And I really think like if our Twitch ever gets even semi-popular, I'm buying that. And anytime someone says something in chat, I'm just gonna smack myself with it and then ban them. I think that's the new plan.
I mean,
So if you wanna,
I've banned 2 people in Discord and 1 in chat today. So
if you want to,
the ban hammer's real.
if you want to donate, so I can buy. Let's see if there's an actual ban hammer gaming. I don't think that's what I'm looking for.
Why not?
Right. We'll have to look at that later.
Anyways,
but
Our next game, Spider-Man. I'm excited for this.
yeah, like I don't play games like this like a whole lot, but just like the appeal of it, it looked really smooth. Now, obviously, every game's gonna look smooth,
Yeah.
but just the combat system, I thought just looked really refined.
Well,
and
I don't know if you've
and
ever
clean.
played any of the like somewhat older Spider-Man games
I
for like the PS2 and the original Xbox and stuff. They were phenomenal. They were very good.
Really,
The combat system was great. You had the web swinging, worked really well. Even if you go back to the Spider-Man games on like the Super Nintendo and stuff, if you compare them to other games of the time, they're very good.
right.
And I'm hoping that this is one of those.
I'm hoping that it is as smooth as like Batman, like the Arkham series.
Oh yeah,
And the
Those
combat
are
feels
very
like
good.
that, plus added like the swinging and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
was amazing in
Yeah.
like PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
But the issue is PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Is
Is
it
it?
really?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
I didn't know that.
Really?
I'm sad now. I'm
Is
not
it?
gonna get
So,
to play it 'cause I'm
uh,
not buying a PS4 for that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just keep my PS4
Oh, you
until
have a PS4.
yeah, until
I forgot about that.
well, I have to get it back
It
because my brother
is.
gave it to his girlfriend for some reason without telling me. So
See, that's where. No,
nah, I'm not about it.
no, I'm just gonna.
But
be quiet.
but yeah, so I might keep my PlayStation and then play Spider-Man and then sell and buy a Switch.
Yeah,
That's
I can see that.
not
When do you know when Spider-Man comes out?
It's
I
like
can find out.
September.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's not too far away, but yeah, I would like to play
Smash
it. But
Smash doesn't
I
come
don't
out until
think-
December.
September 7th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks really, really good. Like,
I mean, that's only 2 months around, basically.
yeah, I'm interested. There's a couple other games I'd want to play on PS4 too. I really want to play Detroit Become Human a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I've watched a ton of gameplay on that online.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Chris Smooth.
Chris Smooth, my boy.
Shout us out, Chris. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
So yeah,
Come on,
I'm
cuz.
excited for that one. I like the older Spider-Man games. I hope this one does it justice. But yeah, I think that's all I got for it, unless you guys got something else.
No, this. Oh my God, there's
Dude, that's
so many
3 trains today.
This
Oh,
last
also,
game-
another game that I should keep my PlayStation 4 is part 2 of
Oh, the Last
one of my
Us.
favorite games ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Last of Us.
Yeah,
dude.
we can jump to that. The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah,
And how
let's do that.
phenomenal that animation looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here.
What are you looking at?
What?
I mean, that the thing is, like, PlayStation has a lot of good exclusives, but a lot of them I don't think are worth my time. Like God of War. I love the God of War series, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy that game. I just watched the entire playthrough online, so there's no
Yeah.
reason for me to.
Yeah.
Like, there's games that come out, like God of War, for example, where they're completely story based, and I don't feel that I need to play the game. Instead, I take it as like a movie and watch it in multiple segments online, like on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because there's YouTubers that like exclusively play these games all the way through
That are
for
just
people
way
that don't
better.
want to watch it.
Yeah.
So like if I don't want to put in 20 hours of my time or more playing God of War, I can watch a 4-hour only cutscene video and get the idea of the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, without all the useless grinding and stuff.
Right. I think there are some games like that that are just like maybe better to watch for some people than others. I think generally speaking, that's probably not the best way to experience a game.
I mean, definitely not,
but I definitely think that like
but it's
some
better
of those
than
games,
I'm not going to shell out for a PS4 and
I'm not
plus
gonna-
the cost of the game.
I'm not going to spend
Rather than
$60 on God
watching
of
it,
War
you know.
instead of watching
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
that.
I think it's just that weight of benefit though. Is just like
Right.
how much
Yeah.
am I really going to get out of playing this game versus watching?
If I know that I'm never going to play a game, I usually just watch,
Right.
something on YouTube.
But anyways, The Last of Us Part 2 looks great.
It looks good.
I don't know if you guys did either of you guys play the first one?
Yes.
No.
Okay, the first one
I've
was
played the
very
first one
good.
multiple times.
I think everybody pretty much knows that.
Yeah.
The gameplay, I feel like people give The Last of Us credit for the story, but the gameplay was really fun. There wasn't enough of it, I don't think. I think they could have done more with it. Maybe added a multiplayer feature.
Well, they do have multiplayer, and it was fun.
Oh, that wasn't out when they added that later.
Yeah,
after I didn't have it anymore.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I wish they would have done more with it off the bat. Even within the story had more of it, because the gameplay from weapon handling to the stealth mechanics were very good.
I mean, and we've talked about
I hope they expand on that in part 2.
Taking their weapon UI stuff from that game and putting it into our game to a certain extent.
I don't know. I don't remember what their UI looked like, but I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
that's interesting. What is it being released on? Is it everything?
PS4.
PS4.
It's exclusive.
Yeah.
When did the first one come out? Oh, 2013.
Yeah.
It's
been a minute.
Have they been working on it like the whole time?
Almost.
I don't know, because they did release The Last of Us Remastered as well.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, they released it for PS4.
The thing about like The Last of Us that Cody doesn't understand is that it ended in like this massive cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like it literally was like this ends and you're like, man, that's a tough decision.
Yeah.
And then 5-year cliffhangers are not my not my favorite.
Well, that's why you can play it now and be whatever about it.
Yeah, that's true. I might have to.
It's not like a super long game. Like,
really?
No, you can play it in a day, probably. Depending on the difficulty you play on, you can play it in a day.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I do a lot of things that shouldn't be done in a day, like just binge entire Netflix series. So
yeah.
But to go from that into our next topic.
Yeah. Do we want to? Yeah.
The thing about The Last of Us is that like there's basically 2 main characters. There are 2 main characters, and it's I don't remember their names off the top of my head right now, which is really bad.
Joel?
Yeah, Joel is, and
Elle, was I reading that earlier? Ellie? Something.
Ellie, that's what it is, yeah.
Joel and Ellie.
So there's 2 main characters, and it's like it turns into like a father-daughter weird dynamic that happens, and but this is like one of the first games that has a female character in the forefront of the game, and she's like the center of the game. For those, I'm not going to spoil anything, but she's like the reason that the whole game is happening is because of her. Like, there's a lot that has to do with her, and Joel's basically like a guardian. So, which is interesting because E3 and the current situation in the world in the U.S. right now is a lot of I don't know what you would call it, feminist movements happening.
Yeah.
And the gaming industry is showing that as well.
Yeah.
Because, there's all these games that released. There was a lot of issues with Call of Duty having female characters in a World War II setting.
Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1 already had female characters in it.
And then in Battlefield 5, I think that was big news too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
About that whole thing.
Yeah.
But, like, in no way is it a bad thing. Like, if you think it's a bad thing, what is happening within gaming, there's probably no reasoning with you. I mean, you can argue historical inaccuracy and stuff like that, but you're playing a video game.
It's a video game.
Like, if you're arguing historical accuracy in a video game, good luck finding a video game you'll enjoy.
And the thing with like the Battlefield 5 stuff is that there are women in World War II that did crazy things, like fighting. Like, just because the U.S. didn't have women soldiers fighting in the war doesn't mean that other countries didn't utilize them.
Right. Yeah, and especially when when a war is fought on your turf.
Yeah.
Like, people are just gonna fight, and that's just a fact. I think you'd probably be ignorant to say that, there were no women fighting in World War II. I just think in general, when you're fighting on your own soil, that's just going to happen. But generally speaking, the article that we were looking at kind of was talking about how, so it's a BBC article, and it's titled "At E3, Video Gaming's Bigots Have Lost," right? So they basically just talk about how, they talk about Gamergate, which, if you're not familiar, I don't really know how to summarize it because although they called themselves like a movement, they didn't do anything organized really. And I guess generally speaking, it was, basically like a harassment campaign for some people, and throwing shade at women, and going a lot further beyond that. Um, but so basically the point of this article is like, sorry guys, like you lost. Like women are in video games and you're gonna learn to like it. And I think this article makes a great point that actually, I don't know who did the survey, so I don't know if this number is accurate, but apparently 45% of gamers are women in today's society. So I think,
And I don't know that they're not just talking about women there. I think they're including women, LGBT,
right,
etc.
okay, so it's obviously a marketplace for more than just white men, and that should be represented in the games. I think, you can't just be like, and what the article kind of hints at is you can't just have every game be this macho white guy. I mean, I guess you can if you're a game developer, but that's not necessarily representative of the people playing your game. And it's better to kind of strive out and seek these other avenues of characters and potential like development options and stuff like that.
I mean, but I just think even like goes back to Battlefield 1 and how they had the Harlem Hellfighters in the beginning in the first trailer, and people were like really upset that they had black soldiers fighting in World War One without even doing any sort of research to find out that that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was like, this whole uproar in it.
It's interesting how people like just want to be offended by things. Yeah. I think that like as a general rule, like it's not gonna impact your gameplay in any way.
People saying that black soldiers didn't fight in World War One, trying to be the people who say it needs to stay historically accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, do they realize that like black soldiers fought in the Civil War?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It's just it's an ignorance thing.
Yeah.
They're quick to spew whatever they want about games because they don't want their games infiltrated by whatever race or gender or whatever they don't want in the game.
Yeah.
But like,
well, it comes down to a belief system, right? Like some people just want things to stay the same as they've always been because, well, I had a good time playing this game 5 years ago. Why does it have to change now?
Yeah.
And some people are realistic enough to say, well, yeah, I had fun playing that game, but it could be better. So let's go and let's look for new things that could be even better than what I experienced before. But some people just want to hide in that comfort zone for their, whether that's games, movies, etc. People just want to hide in that comfort zone of like, I enjoyed this before, why are we changing it? Well, because some people like new things, and those new things could be good if you give them a chance.
I think the sad part about that is like adding women or like black soldiers into a game is like straight up a cosmetic thing. And if people are getting upset about a cosmetic thing inside their game that doesn't affect gameplay at all, then that is just like the most outrageously ignorant thing that someone could do.
I mean, it's just bigoted.
Yeah.
Like, if you're legit just like, I don't want women in my game, you're just a bigot. I mean, outright, that's what you are. If you're trying to prevent people from wanting, the same experience that you had in gaming of being able to relate to a character, and you're trying to take that away from people, you're just a terrible person, because everyone should have the opportunity to have the same, gameplay experience as you. But
I think it's extremely interesting that like Overwatch has in the PTR, people have discovered that Tracer's girlfriend is like a spray now, which is very interesting that they would add that into the game consciously, like acknowledging that this stuff happens everywhere.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's great. It's a good path for gaming to be going on, because more and more people are starting to play games, and they deserve to have, not traditional things expressed in their games.
And I think it's also pushing towards, it could go two ways, because on one hand, it creates a more open environment for everyone, which I think the gaming industry needs, a less toxic overall community.
Yes.
Which I could see this going either way, with either like causing more toxicity based on what they're adding and how they're doing it. But I also think that once people understand that there's like this universal acceptance of things, then my hope is that it gets better.
Yeah.
And I think all three of us want the Gather community to be as open and diverse as possible, because I just want to interact with different people. There's no reason for me to stick, like, we're three white men in creating developing a game, and we have already been very conscious about how we are designing our characters and those aspects and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, because it's important. I mean, at least to me, it's important that people feel a connection to characters, and that like you said, we want to be open to our community, and so whoever's playing the game, they should be able to feel a connectedness to a character. I think that's best case scenario, is that you can play a character that you truly feel not necessarily a part of, but that you can kind of relate to a degree. And yeah, I think that generally speaking, we just want to move forward. I think that's hopefully the goal. As times change, you have to adapt and recognize what's best for everyone. So we have no intention of creating a game that caters to one type of person. We want a game that is enjoyed by everyone, because the best games are enjoyed by everyone.
It just seems like the gaming industry overall, well, I guess it's just the games that I play, but like, I started my gaming career in Counter-Strike, and that's a very toxic community for the most part. Even much as so that like professionals have dropped out of playing it completely because they are tired of dealing with that stuff. I mean, Shroud as an example, he didn't necessarily leave for that reason, but he's talked about it on stream about how much it kills his mental state. But then I moved on to like Overwatch is pretty toxic usually. Cody's played a lot of League, which seems to be extremely toxic from what I've played that much. But
I haven't played League, and well, we had that one kind of run at things where we played, I don't know, just a little bit. But League was bad. I mean, if you watch Tyler 1, you know.
Yeah. I think that's part of our earlier discussions we've had on previous episodes about competitiveness in gaming.
Yeah.
And I think that these highly competitive games like Counter-Strike and Overwatch and League foster these, whether it's intentional or not.
Yeah.
The competitiveness fosters that toxic community. And if people aren't winning, they're mad. And if people are winning, why did they lose 3 games ago?
Yeah.
And people are just always mad, and no one's, I don't know that I would say no one's having fun playing the game, but it's not the same thing.
At some point you stop playing for fun.
I've
said that before.
Yeah. I just want a game that has the middle ground, like that I can still see. Even Fortnite's getting to the point to where like it is fun to play, but I'm tired of being worse at people than building. I think that's just a competitive nature in all of us, that we want to win and we want to be the best at these things, and then if we get beat, then we just immediately get mad at the game or at ourselves or at the people that killed us. But it's easier to project the anger onto the person that killed you, or the game, or all of this different stuff.
Right. I mean, I think there's a place for both types of gameplay within a single game, right? I just think it's generally now people are, or I guess not people, but companies are releasing games that are, single faceted, right? Like Overwatch, you only play one game mode. I mean, you have 2CP and stuff like that, right? But it's one common goal, which is, split up between 3 different kinds of game types, but effectively it's the same game, right? And then you have Fortnite, which is, if you don't play Save the World?
Yeah.
Right? It's literally just one thing, the same thing every time. And I think the problem is you can have that competitive scene, but also give people the option to, if they want to, experience a great story next to that.
Fall back and cool down.
I just don't think a lot of people do that. I mean, you look at Rainbow Six too, Rainbow Six as well. it's one game mode that you can play. There's nothing beyond that. So if people enjoy your, engine or whatever, the system that you created around your game, that's the only way they can experience it, rather than Overwatch making, a story mode that dives into the lore of Overwatch.
Oh.
That's something they could do, but that's just not common among these competitive.
They have
type
kind of done
games.
that though in
Yeah,
their
but that's not. And I don't like the way they've done it. I don't like that it's only available during an event.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's very short. I mean, there's not much of it.
No.
It's very limited.
they're literally just like short stories that
Yeah.
playable short stories.
I think that I think Overwatch would have been aided. Overwatch would have been incredibly aided by a full campaign.
Yes.
I mean, that game has one of the best stories.
Yeah, their lore is incredible.
Of any game that's been released lately, I think.
Yeah.
And they didn't capitalize on it at all. I feel like they could have, but
I mean, and maybe we'll see that.
And hopefully we do.
I would absolutely play a Overwatch campaign storyline. Like,
heck,
even if they just followed one character around, like if they just followed Tracer around or
that's
Winston,
exactly what I was gonna say.
Or even if they released people who aren't familiar with Overwatch's lore, like there's Overwatch and then there's Talon and there's Blackwatch. If they released like 3 short campaigns in one game that showed, how Widowmaker is the way she is and how Reaper became, Soldier's enemy and how they used to be, beside each other in battles and stuff. I think that would be amazing. I think that would rival a lot of lores between like Halo and Gears. I think that would stand alone in those games. But
they put a lot of work into it and it shows. I just wish it was something that I could interact with at the end of the day, but I don't know. It's a shame. It sucks, but Ian, Daddy says come home for supper.
Yeah, dude, I got some fat steaks waiting at home.
Are you gonna bring me one?
No.
Am I gonna go get one?
No. Brady, is it just steak or some potatoes and some corn or what?
Brady,
what are we doing?
Brady, you invite me over for dinner, dude. My dude, come on.
But yeah. If you haven't seen Overwatch's lore, I'd go watch a couple of videos on YouTube about it. It's pretty good.
Well, this actually kind of leads into our next topic just a little bit. With the Netflix stuff, talking about the difference between like interactive versus, just like, I guess, videos. So
interactive storytelling versus game.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like the difference between video, interactive storytelling, and game.
Yeah.
Like on a whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So this guy, I don't know what this website really is, thenextweb.com. He did an interview with a representative of Netflix. Basically so here's the summary. It says Minecraft story mode is coming to Netflix. Later this year, subscribers to the streaming service will be able to explore the world unveiled by Telltale back in 2015 from the comfort of their couch using only their remote. This is the latest in a line of interactive titles on Netflix, including, whatever, a few. So anyway, the kind of debacle in the conversation was, basically the interviewer asks, I don't know exactly what the question was, but basically the guy responds by saying that we don't have any plans to get into gaming. There's a broad spectrum of entertainment available today. Games have become increasingly cinematic, but we view this as an interactive narrative storytelling on our service, which to me sounds a lot like a simple game, but I guess you could argue either way.
I mean, you go back. There are some early examples of this. I remember one specifically. If you ever got like a DVD back in the day, right, with like the special features and stuff on it, there were some movies. I know one of the Harry Potter movies had it. I want to say it was the first one, the Sorcerer's Stone, right? On the special features, like you could go through and like, you know how they tap on the bricks to open the thing?
Yeah.
You could like tap on the bricks and go through.
Yeah, you just triggered nostalgia
all
in my
the
head,
stores and whatnot.
Oh, dude, I love
and like that. So I know that there were a few movies that I can remember that had things like that.
Goosebumps did that a ton.
Oh yeah.
All the Goosebumps videos had interactive games.
Right,
So does that mean that Netflix is going to start doing that?
And from what I see with Netflix, I think that Netflix is aiming this more at, children, like children's making interactive children's shows. I don't know any of the current popular ones, but I could easily see a lot of the shows that would be on like Nick Jr. and stuff.
Sure.
I don't even know what kids shows are like today.
I have no idea.
The shows that I remember from back in the day and stuff, I could easily see those being interactive stories on Netflix, and that would be huge with kids, right? I think that's probably a good move, and I don't know that I would define it as a game either, but
yeah, I mean it's as close as you can get though.
Yeah.
You are able to interact in a way that changes the gameplay, and there's graphical features.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on a very simple level, that is what games are.
I mean,
right?
I think that if they did a game in a movie or TV show where you decided what characters did, like become human or whatever.
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human is very like that.
They have books like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Do you
what I was
consider
going to
that
say.
a game?
Books have been books
is-
don't have
this
any
is the
graphical interface.
Well, yeah, but there's text-based games.
I mean, that's fair.
There's board games. I mean, I don't know that I would consider it a game.
Do you consider Detroit Become Human a game?
I haven't played it, so I don't know exactly what you do, but
Effectively, you can make decisions that just change the story.
Completely. Like you basically deciding the whole game.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
but all it is interactive. You make a decision and then a result happens.
Yeah. I mean that I think interacting with a media that you're doing is, as far as changing it completely, is a game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
if you're
I guess
putting
it
an
depends
input
what
into
extent
something.
they take it to. I mean,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
definitely a gray area, but I
I don't think they're gonna take this to the extent of Detroit Become Human.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. Maybe a few go down this path or this path.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't know.
that.
I didn't play I mean the thing about it is, did you play Minecraft story mode?
No.
I didn't. either.
Minecraft is a story mode.
I guess.
Well, it's not like part of the official Minecraft. It's a Telltale game.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, it's a Telltale game. They're basically just re-uploading that.
Okay, well,
to Netflix.
Skyrim's a Telltale game, right?
I mean,
I don't know what a Telltale game is.
That's the name of the studio.
yeah.
They make like the Walking Dead games.
Yeah. Those are good.
There's a lot of games that don't necessarily have stories that they created story-like games for. So I believe that the Minecraft one and the other ones are very similar to the Walking Dead games.
Right.
Yeah, they did a Walking Dead game, Game of Thrones game, Minecraft story mode, a Batman Telltale story. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's considered a game. I guess.
Would it get to that point though? Do you think Netflix would get to that point to where they're telling these massive stories?
Well, I mean, the thing is that Netflix is very adamant that they're not getting into gaming.
Right. But I don't know. At what point is it I don't know.
I
don't
guess
know
it
what
doesn't
that
really matter
threshold
what
is.
you call it. If you want to call it a game, if you want to call it an interactive story.
Yeah.
Listen,
I don't think what you call it really matters.
the highest. What is it, Darren? What is Netflix now above Disney? Are they still?
I don't know if they still are, but Netflix passed Comcast and Disney for market cap.
Highest market cap
on the market.
It's insane.
so they can do whatever they want.
I don't know if they're
is what I'm
still
saying.
there. They were kind of like they just passed them, and they were like back and forth. I don't know.
Okay,
if
well, they're
still
top
there, but
three.
Yeah,
I mean,
At
let
least.
me clarify though.
that made them the number one, the biggest entertainment company in the world. So
Yeah. I mean, let me clarify though. With what they've been doing with their Netflix, their own series, I'd be very interested to see what they do with games.
yeah,
Yeah, their Netflix original series are great. Most of most of them are great.
Black Mirror Interactive would be cool.
That
would
be
be really
horrifying.
cool.
I would hate that.
You
That
know,
would
like
just
stuff
break
like
you.
that. Like even if that's not a game, I would really like doing that. Like I feel like that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if this is the path they go down, I'm all for it. If they don't really actually delve into gaming, I think that's unfortunate. Just because they're in a position to do it really well and kind of change the dynamic of gaming. I think because they're on every
I don't know
platform.
that changing the dynamic of gaming is what I would say. I think they're in a position to change the dynamic of television,
entertainment in general.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't know. I don't think that what they would do with interactive storytelling is gonna do anything to the gaming industry.
Well, I'm saying if they went into gaming, if they decided, let's buy a studio, let's like, just from what they've done off their storylines, you know, from their originals.
Yeah,
I think if they did go into that, it would be really interesting to see what
you
path
have to
they would
remember
go down.
though. So this would work pretty similar to how publishing is now if Netflix got into it. So Netflix doesn't really make the shows, right?
I get that.
They're the publisher for the studio that
Right.
makes them, right?
But I agree with that, but I'll add on that most publishers are that way. They have small studios. I think still the product they produce, I guess, is symbolic of how good they are as a publisher.
They're not going to produce something they don't think is going to be successful.
Like I think Netflix has a proven past of.
I don't know. There are a lot of bad Netflix.
There's a lot out now. In the beginning, it was very impressive how they were pumping out all these good things, but now it's kind of saturated.
Yeah, I've watched some specifically. Let me say, like the last Adam Sandler movie that came out there. Who was in that? The other, Chris Rock.
What, his crew of people?
Watch that.
His posse.
It really didn't have his normal crew in it.
Really?
It was him and Chris Rock mostly were the only two like super notable people in it. But it was just bad. It wasn't even, like most Adam Sandler movies, like The Ridiculous Six. That movie was ridiculous, and it was hilarious because of how ridiculous it was.
Yeah.
This was just, and like the last Adam Sandler movie, The Do-Over, who was in that? David Spade, I think.
Yeah.
That was like it wasn't my favorite movie, and it wasn't like amazing, but like it was decent.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate myself for watching it. But I watched all of the newest one, which is like about a wedding or something. I don't remember what it's called. But it's him and Chris Rock, and it's just there's no good part in the movie. It's just and it's long. It's like a 2.5-hour movie, and it's just not good the whole way through. And I watched the whole thing, and it's
That's fair.
And there's several, especially their movies. Their TV shows usually are pretty on point.
Yeah.
Their movies, however, are really hit or miss, and some of them are really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but
if we go back to Netflix and gaming, I think that they could be on the forefront of creating something that doesn't exist yet, as far as interactive gaming media, because I think that TV as a whole is dying. Significantly.
Yeah.
As far as the newer, like, I wouldn't have cable. Darren doesn't have cable, right? You don't have cable.
I wouldn't say that TV is dying in the sense that TV shows are dying.
No,
I think cable
is dying. I guess I should restate that. Cable is dying. But I think that if Netflix would create like a show that made people, so if you take, like, I don't know, the show Survivor, for example, where you have 40 people or so on an island, and instead of them being the ones making their own decisions, the people at home would make the decisions for them. And it could be interactive with like the entire population of the people that are watching. So like it would be like a voting system. So,
Twitch plays Survive on an Island.
That would be good.
It like freeze frames for everyone watching live, and has a list of 4 things that this person can do. And then it's like a polling thing. So you click on what you want them to do as far as a family or a person goes, whoever's watching. And then when you do that, then you don't find out until, the next episode what happened. So like it wouldn't be necessarily a thing that they're doing in this episode specifically. It would be like it would lag an episode behind, obviously. But I think that would be like insane, and I would absolutely do that as far as like, these shows would go. And you could even like, it would be, I don't even know how you would handle it, because either you could have it animated or you would have all these actors acting out these multiple conclusions, you know what I mean? Like a video game does. But I could see it either way, honestly, and I think it'd be successful either way. And we've seen this in movies too.
Why not both?
Yeah. We've seen this in movies like, I don't know, there was an old movie back in the day where they put a bunch of convicts on an island and like The Last to Survive one. You know what I'm talking about? And they had like explosives on their ankles and stuff. There's a bunch of
Hunger
stuff.
Games.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, yeah, well, we can use that example. Imagine Hunger Games, except you decided who died and who won, you know?
I would like to do that.
I don't know that I would
IRL.
say you decide who dies and who wins. I think it would be more interesting to follow a character, right? So let's say Hunger Games, for example. You're following Katniss, right?
Yeah.
And she
Love Katniss.
I'm trying to think of, I can't remember specific events in the Hunger Games. I think there's one part where she's like in a tree with a bow,
Yeah.
and she like lets people pass.
She drops the beehive on them.
Do you shoot them in the head with an arrow? Do you drop a beehive on them? Do you just ignore them and let them pass?
Yeah.
And there's different outcomes based on your actions.
Here's another idea I'm thinking right now. What if the episode aired on a Sunday, like our show does, but on Wednesday or Thursday, you sat down and watched clips from that episode to decide what the characters do in it. Like American Idol this season was a 2-day thing. There was a Saturday and a Sunday, or a Sunday and a Monday. I can't remember what it was. But the first day, people sung and did whatever, and then the judges sent home a certain amount of people, but then America voted for who would go out on Sunday. So like even now, obviously there is a significant population that votes on shows that are currently on TV. I mean, we see that in singing shows and competition shows all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, people just like to interact with stuff. That's what it comes down to. That's why gaming will continue to grow. Because at the end of the day, people like to feel connected to something, and you feel more connected when you're, interacting with that and you're making something happen.
Better call NBC tonight and pitch them my idea.
Yeah, NBC, if you're trying to hire us on as consultants,
any of those studios.
I mean,
why NBC?
I mean,
no, that was the first one I said on top of my head.
I mean, Netflix.
I mean, I'm down for whatever, honestly. Like if Cleveland's news station or something wanted to hire me on, just
but
help us out.
Yeah, all the news stations are owned by the same thing.
Because I think that would be a really good, a new thing that would be interesting to try, at least to test it.
It'd be interesting.
Let's call Netflix tonight, Darren.
All right.
Pitch out. Let's get in like, I don't even know.
Do you just call Netflix? Is that a thing? You're
Probably.
Probably.
Hey Netflix, what's going
They'll
on,
probably
my
give
dude?
us $10 million to make a show.
I mean,
Deal.
I mean, probably not. Honestly, probably wouldn't happen.
I could make a better movie than that last Adam Sandler movie.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. How do we get? Can we get like patents or copyrights on ideas? Is that a thing?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's the issue right there.
Probably not that idea.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
Probably not. Wow, dude, your mom. I will steal your ideas and pitch to them.
Oh.
Better be paying us royalties.
Yeah,
all I'm saying.
royalties. I mean, that's pretty.
Can we get a date on this right now? Can put a date on this. What's today? June 17th at 7, almost 7:30 is when we came up with this idea, so no one can steal it.
Yeah, there we go.
I have proof.
And we have pretty solid proof, I would say.
I think we have a lot of solid proof.
Pretty decent. I mean, pretty. Like it could be better for sure, but
But yeah,
pretty solid, I'd say.
Bet Netflix announces this tomorrow and claims it.
What would you do? Like, what would we do as people if that happened?
Look, I said this last night.
Like,
well, I mean,
Netflix, show me your proof.
Yeah, but are you gonna fight Netflix in court?
Yeah.
I would just say, give me $1,000 and I'll shut up.
I don't think they would. I think they'd just be like, go away.
Well,
hard to argue.
That's probably true.
It's like we can make this court case last longer than you live.
Speaking of people getting pushed around by money, the city of Atlanta, Seattle.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, Seattle, right?
We're coming back. We're coming back to the Jeff Bezos issue, Darren. Get on
Darren's bent. Here we go. So, Jeff Bezos, we all know, CEO of Amazon.
Terrible person.
Yeah. Well, and this isn't really Jeff Bezos himself. I mean, it is, but it's Amazon as a company too. They're building their new headquarters in Is it Seattle?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, they're building their new headquarters in Seattle, and that's a huge project, bringing a ton of jobs to the area. I mean, obviously it's Amazon that's going to do a lot for the city's economy. You know, just all around a good thing. And when they announced that they were building a headquarters, they had, you know, cities were practically killing each other to get it. And so Seattle has a tax that companies that make over a certain amount, I don't remember the numbers, but like if companies make over a certain amount, they have to pay this tax, which goes to fund homeless shelters and things of that nature, provide food for those things, and the building costs and everything. And I believe that it was like a 20% tax. It's pretty high. I don't remember the exact numbers, but that's not really important. So Amazon said, you know, if we have to pay this tax, if we don't get exempt from this, we're gonna pull out. We're gonna not finish building. Like they already started construction on the headquarters, and they're like, we're gonna back out of this and go somewhere else and build it if we aren't exempt from this. And you know, I mean, so obviously, you know, they pulled out there. They said they would, and it kind of puts Seattle in a bind. And it's like the taxes to fund homeless shelters. It's not like you know, I'm amazed that Amazon can do this and not get just terrible PR, right?
Yeah.
Like they're pulling out of a deal that
Helps
they're
people.
threatening to pull out of a deal that helps homeless people, provides food for starving people, you know, and they're just like, we're not going to pay this. And yeah, you know, it's not like they don't have the money. It's not like they can't afford to do that.
No. So, by the way, the exact number, I guess, is $275 per employee. That's what the tax was.
Okay. So that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But you know, and I get that, you know, I can understand when they get tax exemptions and stuff for like when they're like, we don't want to pay you to make better roads or
I don't understand. I don't agree, but
yeah, I mean, I don't agree with it. I'm not saying that they should get tax exemptions, but like, it's not as bad of a thing when they're like, I'm not going to pay this tax to help you build better roads. Yeah. It's a different thing when you're saying, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to pay this tax to provide food for starving people. Yeah. And the fact that they don't have any blowback from that, you know.
Yeah. None.
And you know, that just, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I mean, it's no secret, I don't like Jeff Bezos. He, you know, you look at Bill Gates and 98% of his income goes to charity. Elon Musk is
dumping all his funds
moving
into
us
other
to
things.
Mars.
He actually tweeted today. This is kind of interesting. Let me see if I
and Elon Musk actually donates quite a bit to charity. So Elon Musk doesn't get, and I don't know if people are familiar with how this works. He doesn't get an income, right? He gets shares of Tesla as his income.
That's exactly what he was talking about today.
It's whether or not he sells his shares is his income, right? So if he needs money, he sells Tesla shares. Now, previously he had said that he would never sell Tesla shares, right? But he is pretty much single-handedly funding SpaceX.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't remember what his exact plan was, but he said over the next 20 years he will sell like so many billions of dollars worth of Tesla stock in order to fund SpaceX.
How much what's the percentage that he owns of Tesla?
I don't know the percentage, but he has like 2.8 million shares, I think.
2.8 million shares?
Yeah, but I don't know how many total shares they have. I think he has a majority, but I don't know.
How much is a share of Tesla worth right now?
27%.
27%.
So
he's probably a majority then.
Yeah. So anyways, in the way that he gets paid now, he has a new plan, which is I don't remember exactly how it works, but he has milestones, right? And this is pretty typical for a CEO to have these milestone goals where you know, if the company's valuation is this much, you get paid this much, and if the company's valuation is, you know, it goes up and up.
Yeah.
Right. So basically at the lower tier of his payment plan, he makes 20 billion, I think it is, at the lowest tier of what his lowest milestone for Tesla is, and at the highest he makes like 150 billion. And you know, Elon Musk doesn't really take much money out, right?
No.
When he does sell Tesla stocks, most of it, I think the last time he sold like 600 million worth, and then all of that went to charity. I don't know what charity or what it was for, but I do know that. But and then the rest of his money goes into SpaceX and some of his
And
other ventures, like
companies.
the Boring Company. But,
Yeah, the
but
Boring
all of
stuff.
his companies are kind of intertied. The Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX, they're all part of creating a colony on Mars.
Yeah.
What they do here on Earth right now is, and he's doing he is a genius fundraiser. I mean like the Boring Company flamethrowers.
Yeah.
and if you haven't heard that story, they made the flamethrower, and it's basically a propane torch with like a flamethrower body that shoots some flames. And he got some blowback for this, for selling flamethrowers to the public during California's wildfire season.
Yeah.
Which, make of that what you will, but it's not that bad of a product. It's basically a bigger blowtorch.
Yeah.
You can go to your hardware store and buy it.
Yeah, but people bought it though.
You can buy a propane torch in a can of Axe.
Yeah.
At like any store.
Yeah. So, but and they're not. So it's illegal to sell something called a flamethrower. So he renamed it to not a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And that is legal.
Just so funny.
But he's just a genius at fundraising, and so like. SpaceX.
So good.
SpaceX now launches a lot of satellites and does a lot of stuff for NASA, sending stuff to the space station and back. And the Boring Company now got that new deal for the Chicago
to O'Hare,
yeah. Which there's been some controversy around what he estimated that. He said it'd be like they estimated the cost to do that at $1 billion, right? Which is real low.
Yeah.
And whether that's what he's going to charge them and then take a loss on it just to prove we can build a tunnel that goes really fast.
To make it sure that this happens, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? He's Elon Musk. He's a genius. We don't know.
Yeah.
He's not human, so.
That's very true. He's trying to get back to his homeland.
Yeah. So the interesting thing, though, about Elon Musk is that he is the CEO and the chairman of the board for Tesla, right? Which usually isn't together. And there's been a lot of talk about removing him as the CEO of Tesla or removing him as the chairman of the board.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know the specifics around why they wanted to do that, but a lot of the board wants to do that, and I think they were gonna vote on it, and I don't know if they ever did or if it whatever.
Right.
But he's doing that, and it's, I don't know that it's because he's performing poorly. I think it's because he's doing Tesla, and
he's doing a lot.
SpaceX, the Boring Company. He has a few other smaller things going on, which it's all towards the same goal of colonizing Mars. But and the thing about Tesla is people talk about Tesla, with innovation and stuff. And they've been under some criticism lately that they're not actually innovating that much. Obviously they're making the electric cars and whatever, but that's been the thing for a while. They're doing it better than other companies.
Way better.
But other companies were moving in that direction as well. Where the real innovation happens is in manufacturing.
Yeah.
And
self-driving.
how you manufacture the vehicles is where the biggest innovation comes from. And they're not doing a whole lot in that. They're doing very poorly at manufacturing the vehicles. So if you go back to the original manufacturing model, created by Henry Ford and whatnot, you had this. You started off with this you had this assembly line, right? And it messed up a lot. There were a lot of bad vehicles and stuff. And this is part of the problem with cars now, is that you have these bad vehicles coming off and then you fix them later, rather than ensuring that they don't get messed up to begin with.
Yeah.
And the big three, Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, right?
Yeah.
They instituted these same models where put out the numbers, fix what's broken later.
Yeah.
And that's why you have cars that you constantly have to take to a mechanic or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where that all came from, and because they still follow that same model a lot today.
Right.
Then you have other companies and you can sit here and argue car brands all day. You know, oh, I like my Fords, I like my Chevys, whatever. But when you look at like Toyota and Honda, they have significantly less problems with their vehicles than Ford, Chevy, or Dodge do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's largely because of their manufacturing systems.
Yeah.
They follow a policy of putting out stuff right to begin with and not fixing it later.
Yeah.
And Tesla is largely seems like they're following the same policy as Ford and Chevy and them do, where they're trying to put out the numbers and then having a lot of problems and fixing it later.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think you're taking a bit of credit away from how much they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean
they still
I'm
have
not saying they're
self-driving
innovating,
on the road. Like,
yeah,
like that's
but so does GeoHot. So
what I don't even know who that
George
is.
Hotz. He's the one who jailbroke the iPhones and then made PS4 jailbreaks, and now he has self-driving cars.
Okay, that's pretty lit.
That
not gonna lie.
Work arguably as well as Teslas do.
Interesting.
And
I didn't know that.
There was some talk before about him Tesla using his system. And they never did, but I think his relies more on cameras and spatial awareness than GPS and stuff like Tesla's does. But I think that it's in a few Toyota and Honda vehicles.
Yeah.
Is that the self-parking stuff?
Self-driving.
No, self-driving.
Yeah.
Right, but they're using that technology for like their self-parking. Like they click a button and it parallel parks you.
Yeah, and that's somewhat of it. I don't think it's the same technology, but it, you know, this guy is, you know, Tesla is a huge multi-billion-dollar company, right? And this guy is a guy who jailbroke iPhones and PlayStations and now is making self-driving cars. Yeah. And it works about as well.
Yeah. I mean, but realistically, the technology for self-driving has been there for at least a couple of years. I'm not saying self-driving cars, but you've had cameras that have been able to monitor movement around you for a while.
Yeah, but the machine learning and the AI hasn't been there it's still not there.
I disagree with that.
Why?
Because if a camera can detect everything that's moving around you and detect the speed, which has been a thing for years, how is that not similar to a self-driving car's technology?
The problem is that there's too many variations, and when you're
but I'm saying the basic technology.
Right? Yeah, the basic technology is there, but you have to have the machine learning and the AI to control it.
Which is how those cameras operated, was with AI.
Well, no, tracking an object and knowing what's around you is very different than deciding what to do about it. So I'm saying, yeah, you can track objects and you can know what's around you and how fast it's moving, but the system has to be able to decide what to do. Yeah. You know, if this thing is, you know, it has to know that if this thing is moving this way, I need to stop. But if I stop too fast, this thing behind me is going to be, you know, hit me. It has to decide.
But even in that regard, Google has had that technology since 2013, which is still 5 years.
I'm saying that it's still far ways out because it has to be able to make the best decision, right? You can't. It's still not there. It's not there.
It makes better decisions than humans.
I don't know that I would say that.
There's a few studies, I'll send them to you after the podcast, that shows very effectively that self-driving cars are involved in significantly less accidents.
Okay, but there are significantly less self-driving cars than...
Okay, I'm saying if it's expanded out, it's obviously not going to be a direct correlation between, well, there were only 2 self-driving car incidences. I'm saying if the data is extrapolated, I mean... Obviously, there's going to be some error.
Data to extrapolate.
Well, here's the thing: like, even to have self-driving cars, you would have to have all self-driving cars or not, right? Because you can't just have if there's human drivers, there will be human error.
I'm not saying we're not close, and I'm not saying that it doesn't work to an extent, but I'm saying that we're not all the way there. It's still got a long ways to go before self-driving cars are able to be considered as safe and as good as human drivers.
Are we talking about self-driving cars like you get in your car and it drives to where you want to go?
Yes.
Like completely?
Yes.
Okay.
I can sleep on my way to work. Semi-autonomous.
Right.
You know, I mean, there are advanced forms of cruise control which work very well and things like that, but I'm talking about fully. I get in my car and it takes me to where I want to go.
Right.
I don't think we're there yet. we're really close, and we will be there soon, I think. But the AI just isn't there yet. The AI to decide what to do in every situation isn't there yet.
Maybe. I don't know. I still disagree, but we'll just leave that for another time.
Well, I agree that the AI would probably make better decisions than someone who doesn't have a license.
That's fair, but I'm letting you know that all of the statistical results that have come in say that AI controlled cars are in accidents significantly less in more populated areas where accidents occur more frequently. That's just what it is for right now.
Here's
and
the thing
you can
about
say
that.
the data, there's not enough data there to prove it, and I agree. But I'm saying that's what they're leaning towards right now, and that's what.
Here's the thing about going into a creek. I don't think that's anyone's decision. That is the ICE's decision.
You don't think you made a mistake on the ice that the AI probably would have done better?
No.
I bet you did.
I think you did.
I bet you did. Considering you had a truck and people drive down that road. My mom's drove down that road for years in the winter.
Okay. Trucks are different than any other vehicle, though.
Okay, especially since when does having a truck make you drive better on ice?
Well, I think trucks make you drive.
You're ignoring my argument, though.
I mean,
people
to an extent, trucks make you drive worse.
I bet you made a
trucks
mistake.
absolutely make you drive worse on ice if you don't have things in the back of it.
Yeah, that's
because their back is light and issues occur. But I do think that AI would probably make better decision on how to counter your going into the creek, at least stopping you before or calculating a better way to not go through a tree and then into a creek, but it's hard to say.
I think there's a lot of other things to consider too, such as drunk driving late at night when you're low on sleep,
impaired
which a lot of
in general.
do. Yeah, I don't know. I bet in the next 2 years there will be very significant data that say self-driving cars are extremely more safe.
I mean, I agree that we'll be there within the next few years, but I don't think we're there right now.
I think we're going to be at least 5 to 10 years before that actually happens, though.
Yeah.
There's no way that's happening.
And even
the first
once
10
we
years.
get there, once the AI is there and it is exactly comparable or better to humans, and all the data is there and everything, there's still going to be a lot of opposition to getting them on the road everywhere.
Well, I enjoy driving, so
people, the cars that are there,
but the issue becomes I want to be able to drive my car. Also, there's people that are talking about, but my car can get hacked and stuff like that, and all this other stuff I don't know is even a little bit accurate, but that's just the issues that come up.
I think all the self-driving cars that are out are still able to be operated.
Yeah.
By the human. I don't think that would ever disappear, just in case something goes wrong.
But would there be rules as to when you can go self-driving and when you can go not?
I doubt it. I very highly doubt it.
Well, then that's an issue within itself, because then you still have human drivers on the road.
Yeah, sure.
As far as,
but you can't take away the right. I mean, if people want to drive, people are going to drive.
Right, I understand that, but that's going to be the issue. There's going to be a split between being self-driving and people wanting to drive, and that adds a human error into the whole. Still has human error.
Part of the thing too is that so self-driving cars are, and with everything I've said, I'm very for self-driving cars, and I think that we should be testing them on roads now. I think they're definitely to that point, but I just don't think they're to the point to replace human drivers. But you see a lot of, every time that Tesla Autopilot has a crash, it's in the news. Every time.
Right.
Every single Tesla Autopilot crash is in the news. So it's kind of creating a bad image, because people see all these news stories about, there was a fatality involving an autopilot crash and whatnot. And it's largely a similar thing to what happens with school shootings and things like that. It's being publicized in the news too much. And, how many accidents are there? How many people die in an accident every, I don't even know, minute, from a vehicle, from an automobile accident? And that's not in the news. It's in the local news probably, but it's not like global news that everyone cares about. Whereas one crash from a Tesla car is global news that everyone cares about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of giving it a bad image, and that's part of the reason it's going to take a long time to to, even when the technology is there, to get it in place.
To just popularize the idea.
Yeah.
I agree. That's just how it is when you have a Republican-dominated House and Congress, probably.
I don't even know that I would say that it's
I'm
Republicans
just trying
that
to
are
trigger
against
you.
it.
I'm just trying to trigger you because I think it'd be funny. But
we can go back to how much Elon Musk is still doing for the population as a general.
Oh, yeah.
I've had this stat pulled up for a decent amount of time now, and I want to hit on it. Someone tweeted out CEO to worker. I assume it's average.
Oh, yeah.
Pay ratio. Did you see that?
Yeah, Elon Musk's is like
So
something.
Yeah, so AT&T's is 366 times, IBM is 341, Intel is 211, Netflix is 133. This one surprised me. Amazon is only 59. Facebook is 37.
Part of the reason that Amazon is so low is because the majority of Amazon's workers are highly skilled positions like engineers and things of that nature. So you don't have like a, when you look at like Walmart where you have greeters and cashiers and stuff that make significantly
or even
less,
like warehouse workers in general.
Right.
You don't have as much of that at Amazon.
Right.
So I think that's why that's lower.
And for Tesla, this is Elon, it is 0.9 times.
Which could be for the same reasons among Elon. Doesn't take that much money out.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So it's interesting. It's interesting to think about for sure. But I don't know. That those large numbers are probably not going to change anytime soon. So learn to live with it, I guess, at this point in time.
Embrace our libertarian technocratic overlords.
Oh my gosh, dude. We should
Put
take
that on a
away the
t-shirt.
right to drive.
That's great.
Yeah. Driving kills more people than than guns do every year, but yet everyone's trying to ban guns, ban cars, lol.
Let's just ride our guns to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Ride our guns to work.
That's the future, honestly. And just everyone drives tanks.
Rocket ride, dude.
Rocket ride. Yo, send me. I gotta get to work.
Mom, send me to work.
That would be.
We don't have any rockets.
Yeah,
left.
that is a good point in chat. If you drive an autonomous car while you're intoxicated, you still get a DUI.
Yeah.
Which is obviously how it should be.
Well,
yeah,
the
I'm
driver
saying
the driver is still at fault.
Yeah.
Like even if you're completely autonomous, you should still be paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. It's very accurate. So I think, did we have one more thing? Oh, I wanted to hit on this gaming addiction topic just really quickly.
Yeah.
So I think we talked either last week or 2 weeks ago about a girl who was sent to a clinic because she was playing Fortnite extremely often to the point that it was disordered, and she was, committing behaviors that are not generally acceptable among people, and as such, her family decided to send her to a clinic to get help. And I don't know if this is as a direct result of that, but someone published an article about how gaming addiction will finally be officially recognized as a mental disorder starting tomorrow. So those suffering from it can get NHS treatment, which is like the National Health something, I don't know, service. Yeah. So this is kind of interesting to think about because, so my perspective from my psychology background is that you can become addicted to everything. There's absolutely nothing that you can't become addicted to. Granted, some things are going to be more addictive than others just from chemical additives that will force your brain to become addicted much more rapidly and create lasting connections. I'm a firm believer in, I'm not a believer, this just happens, in neuroplasticity, where small things can happen that impact the wiring of your brain. That's not arguable. If you think it is, you can look it up. That is just a thing that happens. Your brain makes new connections when things happen. So as a result of that, people will argue, no, you can't become addicted to, I don't know, what's something that doesn't produce chemical results? Buying stuff on a microtransaction game. Yeah, something
Online
like
shopping.
that. There's not necessarily a direct chemical imbalance
South Park
that's
has
created.
a good episode about that.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking of. Like that's not a direct chemical result of whatever you're taking, but that is something that does impact your um, neurotransmitters in your brain. So I think just kind of overall generally speaking, this is a good thing, not only for gamers and the media, but for mental health in general. I was a psychology major in college. That's why I don't have a good job, but that's also why I thought this would be a good topic to talk about.
Have a good job.
But it's interesting. I don't.
Funny.
I'll be interested to see what their like guidelines are, because like the DSM is like a book that breaks down like everything that is recognized as a mental disorder, and I'll be interested to see how they break down like what is maladaptive behavior as a result of this.
So is this like just the U.S. doing this, or is this like this like a WHO thing happening?
This is So this is the National Health Service in collaboration with.
So is it like
WHO,
so is it like in the ICD or whatever it's called, the international disease classification or whatever it is?
If I can find.
Because they would probably have to have it as like a gaming. Would it be called a gaming disorder or gaming something?
I don't know.
They couldn't really call it an addiction. I don't think technically.
I think you can, just because of how addiction is classified in the DSM.
Well, they would just call it a gaming disorder, right?
I
mean, base, and then there'd be different criteria, I'm assuming.
Maybe, I don't know. Like, it depends how they decide to approach it, because there are like it's not different criteria. Like, it's just a different illness. It's treated different ways. It's whatever. So if they find that this is only one thing and only responds to one cognitive change in a person,
right,
and can all be treated the same way, then it'll be one disorder.
I mean, all three of us have definitely been addicted to
Yeah.
video games at some point, to an extent.
Yeah. I think the definition of what is addiction, though, is kind of blurred in like common media. Like, obviously, like in the mental health world, addiction is like maladaptive behaviors, right? Behaviors that would inhibit you from performing normal human functioning, right? Which I've probably been there at some points where I don't eat because I'm having fun playing a game. But
middle school.
But that's why it's not just like one day, right? So when they classify this behavior, it will have to be this behavior over the course of a year, right? Because having this happen once in your life, right? It's the same reason that being sad, you don't get treated for depression, right? Sadness is extremely different. It's a time thing, right? So you have to be literally just not eating or not going to work or whatever for like a year in this particular disorder, for it to be classified as disorder.
So
right.
Chad brings up an interesting thing in chat, and he says, if they classify games as addictive, shouldn't they all be 18 plus?
I have a topic to branch off on that too.
That's interesting.
Once you give your comment on it.
If they classify games as addictive, shouldn't they all be 18 plus?
And what will that do to the classification, the rating system?
Like technically speaking,
well, are things necessarily like think about like cigarettes and alcohol? Are those necessarily age restricted because they're addictive or because of their mind altering nature?
Also, that depends per country too.
Yeah.
That's
what a country deems as.
But here's the thing: is that so because a game is rated mature or adults only or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that's not illegal for someone who's 5 years old to play it. It's just recommended that they shouldn't. So it's just a guideline for parents to follow. But I guess cigarettes aren't mind altering. But
they are.
I mean,
they are.
Yeah.
They produce chemical imbalances in the brain.
Yeah,
that's
but,
altering. Yeah.
Anyways,
they bind in
so
nicotine
to branch
receptors.
off of that.
Sorry.
The rating system, so like the ESRB that rates games, that's kind of an interesting topic on itself, because with the emerging of more indie games and new markets for games, a lot of games aren't rated by the ESRB now. A lot of games that are released through non-traditional platforms by indie developers aren't rated by the ESRB. And so the question is, how long is it going to be before the ESRB doesn't exist?
So to answer your question, no, they wouldn't be all 18 plus, because some things are considered addictions that are completely illegal for anyone to have. I think that's where I kind of sit. So no, I don't think the age would change, because you can be addicted to working out, for example, and that's a disordered thing that people get treated for, right? So I don't think it would necessarily be, I don't think they would change that to make it 18 plus, especially because, I mean, they'll have to do studies on it, but I would imagine that the symptoms that they've discussed impacts a very small amount of people, and they wouldn't just change laws outright to, not allow kids to play games. I mean, they still allow television, right? And that was proven to be semi-addictive a while ago, and they still allow
I see in Chad said working out isn't self-harm.
Definitely self-harm.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely work out too much.
It can absolutely be self-harm.
Sure.
In different ways than sitting in a room for endless hours.
In very much the opposite ways.
Yes,
but with the
literally
same
the opposite
result,
ways.
I feel like.
Yeah, similar. I mean, one person's just shredded, one's me.
Well, one is tearing their muscles and the other one is killing them.
Yeah. So I think when it's disordered, anything is considered self-harm, right? For example, eating a burger is not self-harm, but we watched a clip the other day of a guy that eats literally a burger for every meal and is killing him slowly. That would be considered self-harm, right? It's how it is being utilized by the person, right? Anything can be disordered or considered self-harm if you do it enough. That's the whole anything's good in small amounts or whatever, stuff like that, which obviously isn't true.
Moderation.
But, meth once is still pretty bad, but generally speaking, I can't wait to be addicted to the Gather. That's right. I think that's a good place to stop. We hit 2 hours, and I don't really. Oh, did you say you wanted to hit on something else or no?
No.
Okay.
I kind of got it. We're good.
Okay, good. So I'll just go ahead and close up the stream really quick. Hopefully we didn't commit any copyright issues in this stream. So if we didn't, this will be posted on our YouTube channel tonight. If not tonight, tomorrow for sure. The link to that will be tweeted. If you don't follow us on Twitter, you can see the link on the top left of your screen there. So you can go ahead and go follow us over there. We'll be putting out a little bit more content over there, hopefully in the coming weeks. Little clips and updates on our game, as well as give every other account across the top of your screen a follow, subscription, whatever. If you ever want to talk to us, we have a Discord. I think that is linked down below. So go ahead and check that out. Hopefully that is cleaned up if you go in there.
I believe it is.
We were having some problems earlier, but so yeah, just be expecting a little bit more content related to the game coming soon. I hope you guys are excited to see that. The website should be live hopefully in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be able to check us out there. But if you were here watching, thanks for coming out. We always like interacting with the chat. It's always a good time. But we will see you next week at Sunday at 6 o'clock. See you then.